Hi there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies, and I'm here with Takota Coen of Coen Family Farms. We're here at the library of the Waldorf School. There's at the Otwell Farmers Market. We just snuck out at the farmers market, leaving Takota's stuff completely untended. And anyways, I want to do this video because I've been to something called the Resilience Festival, and last year I attended a workshop that Takota ran called Organs, Bones, and Fats. This is the little ebook about it, and it was a fantastic workshop. It was really, really well done. And we were just talking about the story of how it came to be. So yeah, I was wondering if you want to share the story. How did you decide to do this workshop?
Totally. So my family has an organic farm that we've been running for 30 years, and we've always struggled with how do we sell our stuff. My parents were organic before organic was cool, and just nightmare after nightmare of trying to do the right thing but still make a living, and it was really hard. And eventually I came back to the farm and took over kind of the marketing of the farm because I figured I could do it, and found out that it was just as hard as it had ever been, and tried a bunch of different stuff, and somehow came across Tad's work and really resonated with his philosophy about, you know, how to make a living in the world while still doing the right thing and being true to your kind of ethics and your philosophy. And I'd really, like, business was a dirty word. Like, if you would have asked me 6 years ago if I ever thought I'd be talking about like how, you know, business can be a good thing, I'd be like, no, there's no way, and I probably would have slapped you. Anyways, after kind of beating my head against the wall with that, I came across Tad's work and spent $50 on his little series of videos online, and watched those, and kind of in, like, I don't know, a couple hours came up with this marketing plan for how to turn a problem into the solution while integrating in kind of the, like, finding what our niche was, as well as identifying hubs and all these different things. And it kind of all came together through this kind of organs, bones, and fats workshop. So most farmers who raise animal products will know that organs, bones, and fats are the things that they give away. Nobody wants them, nobody wants to pay for them, and it's this, they're probably, you know, depending on the animal, 25 to 50% of the weight of the animal. And you know, I had my own kind of personal journey with dabbling in vegetarianism and veganism, trying to, you know, be less bad, and obviously it didn't work, and I've turned around. But the interesting thing that I found as a result of coming out of that was that not only are organs, bones, and fats currently being wasted, but they're actually the most nutrient-dense part of the animal. And this is where, you know, people like Weston A. Price and Sally Fallon and all the research around that, all these things kind of came together, and I started to realize, wait a second, like, this is this product that has, like, the lowest margin is actually the highest value on our farm, but nobody knows about it. And there's all these people saying that we shouldn't be eating animals. It's like all these things came together, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna start teaching people about how valuable organs, bones, and fats are, while kind of using this kind of stranded asset, or this wasted resource, to do it. So basically, I found all these hubs around Alberta, and it took me a while to identify them, and I had to have a lot of calls. I went to gyms, and, like, I had a lot of, like, no, we're not interested in this. But eventually, when I found the right people, which turns out were, you know, people who ran kind of health food stores, holistic nutritionists, things like that. And it just actually wasn't even when I was trying. It's just like it happened in conversation that, well, first I had this ebook that you can download when you sign up to our newsletter. And then people just started asking me. It's like, wow, this is amazing. And it was like, oh, by the way, I teach a workshop about this. You know, it's either an hour or a full day. And basically what I do is I bring in samples of all 15 of the recipes in this book. And for a whole day, we sit down, and you get to sample all these different recipes from foods that you've never eaten before, and you realize, oh my God, these are amazing. Why have I never eaten these before? And kind of when that's happening, I'm also weaving in the story about kind of, you know, industrial meat and how it's destroying the planet, and how the solution is you know, basically we can heal ourselves and our planet in the same act of changing the way that we eat. And so you basically come to the workshop, you gain, I give you permission to eat the foods you've always wanted to eat. So one of the things I say is you know, the correct amount of butter you should be putting on your bread is when you take a bite, you should be able to see your teeth indent in the butter. It's like when people hear that, it's like, oh, yes, thank God. It's like I can finally do that. And so we give them permission. We give them a taste of what it can be like, and we also give them some skills. So how to make bone broth, how to cook with organs, and how to render fat. And with those 3 basic skills that have been lost, along with a few recipes and actually tasting it, people are super excited. And then to top it off, at the end of the workshop, everybody leaves with some organs, some bones, and some fat in a little gift bag that we put together that was built into the price of the workshop. So basically, I took something that I was giving away that actually had the most value on our farm and packaged it into a workshop that enabled me to basically take a product that wasn't selling, sell it as part of this other package that had huge value. People really appreciated it. I don't have anything here today, but one of the products was a pig head. Like nobody would want that. They thought they were disgusting until I made people pig head soup. And it's like, they're like, I can't hold on to them now. And so it was like all these things, like finding my niche, identifying my hub, having a whole market strategy. And honestly, like all this came out of like the 3 or 4 hour video that I watched of yours, Ted, and it was just absolutely amazing. So.
Well, and of course I wasn't asking for the testimonial, but thank you. But and of course this isn't either of us saying what people should eat or making judgments on diet, but to me what was so interesting is, well, so first of all, I say this a lot in my marketing workshops, that marketing is about establishing the value beyond the immediately apparent. If it were immediately apparent how good your stuff was, more people would buy it. And so when you have something, let's say the organs, bone, fat in this case, people don't get the value in it. That's the job of marketing, is to establish the value of those things. Like, is yoga helpful? Yeah. I mean, is wheatgrass good for you? Sure. But if people don't know, and so then there's education. So much of marketing, I mean, the 2 big words I'd say for marketing are education and relationship building. So if you can educate people, so here's the value of this. Well, if you've made the case properly, this is, this wasn't in the video you saw, but I've been saying this a lot lately, is the thing you're making the case for in a workshop is actually not to buy from you. You're making the case for a point of view, for a perspective. So if I was doing the wheatgrass or the coffee enema workshop or whatever, I'd be making the case for like, look, wheatgrass and young grasses, and here's the benefit, and here's all the minerals, and here's all the case studies and the examples, here's the studies on it. And then it's like, yes, of course, if you want to buy wheatgrass stuff, I've got various products. But the primary case I'm making is for the category. And so then functionally, I think what we're saying is, look, whether or not you get it from me, get it somewhere. It may not be appropriate for you to get it from me for all sorts of reasons. So, okay, so how much is this workshop the day long?
The day long is typically about $100.
And then they get this included in the price?
Yeah, so they get a printed copy of the recipe book, which you can get for free as an e-download if you sign up to a newsletter on our website. And you get about a $25 kind of gift basket that comes with some organs, bones, and fats. And you also get basically a full meal for the whole day, because I bring all this food with me.
And do you find those people then buy from you later often and become clients, or what do you find?
A lot of them do, but not all of them. And and that's like, again, the whole thing is like, it's not about buying from me. It's really about the education. And that's, marketing was another word that was even dirtier than business. But when I realized that it was really about education and relationship building, it was like, wow, how could I do that? And for me, it's like, I love nothing better than talking to people about food and getting to try things. Like, it makes me come alive when I get to make something, and so the workshops don't feel like pushy or like it's not a sales pitch at all. And there's all this philosophy and stuff that's woven into it, and so it's been absolutely amazing. And I have 3 hubs now. We went from not being able to sell all of our stuff out, wasting money on advertising, going to all these different markets and things like that, and just not getting anywhere, to now I have 3 kind of, they're not even hubs, is like, they're friends. Like, I have 3 amazing friends that I've built this relationship with, who, by me working with them, they've benefited as well through various means. And with those 3 friends, I've been able to sell all of our stuff from our farm.
And so who is it? It's in Calgary. It's the light seller.
Yeah. So Malcolm Saunders is the light seller. Rob Michelle is from British Permaculture. And there's another fellow by the name of Rick Kohut out of Olds who does he's a health food store there. And I have a few other kind of minor hubs, but those are where most of my customers come from.
So there's a few things I want to just lift up from this. One is you don't need a lot of hubs. Really, just a few hubs that are very solid can do it for your business. It can take a while to figure out who they are, because sometimes you start with, well, it'll be these people, and then you realize it's not. So sometimes you have to just keep experimenting. So there's that. And what else was I going to say about this? Yeah, it's just speaking about giving people the experience. I remember when I was back in my raw vegan days, I used to have these raw food fiestas, and they were just the best. And I mean, all day I'd be making food. I'd make these raw fruit pies that were just so killer. I made these like a raw cheese that was like corn blended with orange juice, olive oil, and cilantro, sea salt, all from, if any raw vegan fans out there, Giuliano's uncooked book, raw, a lot of recipes from. Anyways, a ketchup, and we make these raw burgers, and people would lose their minds. Like, I can't believe this is raw, healthy food. We'd have this amazing experience, and so people got really inspired because they actually got to try the thing. So that's definitely something to think about. Is with a product, it's a little bit easier to put the product in their hands or in their mouth, and they get to have the experience of how can you give people the experience of what you're doing. So a few things from this. Give them the experience of what you're doing. Give them a real taste of it, and if you can, literally. Hubs, big thing. And if you have something that you think people are not appreciating, this is one of my favorite questions to ask when I go to a coffee shop or a tea place. This is the best question. They'll be so happy if you ask this question. Instead of saying, what's the best tea, because I get that all the time, you say, what's the most underrated tea here? And they always say, oh. And they get you something really interesting. But so anyways, most businesses have something that's kind of underrated. Yeah. So what's that thing in your business that you think is underrated? And then could you design a workshop or some kind of something that would do the education for you? And especially, in this case, it's the sort of perfect storm of, it's the part that hasn't been selling at all, but now can sell. And really, it was a fantastic workshop. And I learned a lot at it. So if people want to reach you, they can go to coenfarm.ca. So COEN farm.ca. And
there's a pop-up that'll come up, and just throw an email address. I don't spam people. I send out maybe one email a month.
Not enough.
So.
But where are you based? You're based out of
Farintosh, Alberta, which is just south of Edmonton and north of Calgary.
Okay, and which farm? You're at the Otwell Farmers Market, and
that's it.
That's it.
And, okay. But we deliver to